Welcome. You're listening to The Aligned Self, Conversations in Creating a Conscious and Abundant Life. This is Daniel D'Neuville. I'll be your guide and host. Let's see just where we can take this. Hello, friend. Welcome into this continuing series on manifesting, law of attraction. And in this episode, we're going to talk about energy, specifically frequency and vibration. Now, you might ask, what does energy have to do with manifesting? Our vibration and frequency magnetizes our manifestations. We actually attract what we want to us based on our frequency and vibration. And so having a working understanding of this is critical to you being a powerful manifester. Now, I'm going to create these frequency and vibration as a distinction, as being distinctly different, although in much of the conversation out in the marketplace and even from this guy behind the microphone, they're somewhat interchangeable. But if you have an understanding that there is a difference between frequency and vibration, it gives you a lot more power, a lot more flexibility in your process of manifesting your intentions. So first off, I just want to say, if it's not readily apparent, that we are energetic beings. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. And so the universe, now this is interesting. When I was younger in high school studying physics, I was taught that there was a distinct difference between matter and energy. Well, what we know today through quantum physics is that everything is energy. It just vibrates at different frequencies. Hence, you get different states of energy or matter. And matter, or manifestations, could be thought of as bringing vibration and frequency into physical existence, transmuting the energy to where we have a direct experience of it on the physical plane. So you could think of it as multiple levels of creation. Now, as a human being, we are uniquely gifted to be able to manifest. I believe that's part of our intrinsic design, to be a manifester, to be a creator in this existence, in this human adventure. And there's a couple things that point to that. One is our ability on a daily basis, from moment to moment, to be an interpreter of vibration and energy. We do that through our 5 representational systems. Or in other words, our 5 senses. You see, our 5 senses are designed to receive vibrational energy, vibrational information, and then we interpret it in our brain. A good example of this is if I were to ask, if a tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound? You might say, well, yes. And I would say, no. It creates a vibration. There is a disturbance in the atmosphere. But if nobody's there to hear it, there is no sound. It's just vibration. So you as a participant in the universe, interpreting and receiving energy, you are a manifesting force. You are collecting the energy and then focusing it in a way where you have an experience of it. So, okay, let's dive a little bit deeper into this distinction between frequency and vibration. First, we'll consider vibration. Most of us have had an experience of feeling something vibrate, whether you're traveling in a car or on a plane or some other mode of transportation. You've felt the vibration of the road. You felt the vibration of the motor. And some of you may have some other example, reference to something vibrating. So whatever is called up in your mind about vibration, begin to think of it in terms of intensity. For instance, if you've ever been to a bar or some other public place where they have speakers and you can feel the bass, and as they turn up the volume, you can actually feel it in your body because it's vibrating at a, maybe you're like I was sitting at the light and a car pulled up next to me and they had the music turned up to the degree that the bass was vibrating my windows. I could definitely feel it, even in my body, and I was sitting next to the car. I can only imagine what it felt like being in that car. Another example I guess I could use is about 40 years ago, believe it or not, I went to a radio station party. A friend of mine sold advertising for one of the big stations in Philadelphia, And I was invited, because I was visiting, I was invited to attend a party. Now, everyone loved me because they were all talking shop, they were all talking about radio, and I, being somewhat of an outsider, really enjoyed listening. I got in this in-depth conversation with the engineer, and we began talking about the power of the transmitter. Now, depending on the power of the transmitter, you can think of it in terms of vibration. The power of the transmitter will determine how far the signal goes away from the station. And then, of course, they can point that transmitter in different directions in order to affect a larger market or a particular market or a zip code. We got into that conversation because I was asking, when I grew up in Michigan, I was about 16, 70 miles north of Detroit. And in Detroit, there was a radio station, an AM radio station, WJR. And it had a broadcasting power of like 500 watts. We were able to get that in 90 to 100 miles away. Yet some other stations that were right nearby that I really wanted to listen to, I could barely get it in. It barely came in. And he said, well, that has to do with their transmitting power. So we can think of that as vibration, the intensity, the power behind the vibration. So let's keep with this radio station analogy. WJR out of Detroit, 760 AM. That is the frequency at which they broadcast. So if I want to listen to WJR, I need to set my radio tuner to 760. And because of the power that they're transmitting on, I have found in the past that there would be some bleed over into some other frequencies nearby. But by and large, tuning in at 760 locked in to WJR. And because I was locked in at 760, I didn't get any of the other stations broadcasting on the other frequencies. If I wanted to listen to those, I would simply turn the dial, tune into a different radio station or a different broadcast frequency. So frequency can be considered the focus of the energy, the energetic focus of the vibration. Frequency is the measurement of how fast something vibrates. When something's vibrating very, very fast, it's a higher pitch. So how do we begin thinking of this or talking about it in terms of our human experience? Law of attraction, manifesting. Well, like I said earlier, and you probably agree, that we are a spiritual being immersed in the human experience. And so our spiritual aspect, that part of us that is non-physical, vibrates at a high frequency. And if we entertain the psychic perspective, a non-physical entity vibrates at a high frequency, but it may come in at a particular vibration. A denser vibration would be considered something more malevolent, or evil, depressive, sad. Think of it on the emotional scale. Something that is light and loving and joyful has a higher vibe. Now, your ability as a psychic or enhancing your psychic ability would be your skill level in calibrating or tuning in to a particular frequency. Each person on the planet, each person that's been alive, vibrates at a particular frequency. You have a vibratory signature that is uniquely yours. And I'll go into that more later, but I just wanted to mention it at this point. I want to get back to how does this apply to manifesting and law of attraction. So energetically, we have thoughts and emotions. And our thoughts and emotions can actually be monitored, recorded, and inspected through modern medical equipment, EEGs, EKGs, MRIs, so electrocardiograms, electroencephalogram, and magnetic resonant imaging. Now, in the EEG, we monitor the brain activity. They actually attach wires to the scalp in order to record the activity in the brain. Magnetic resonant imaging, we slide into a magnetic tube. There's a magnetic field that's emanated around us, and the machine actually monitors our brain activity 4 feet away from the actual source. We actually project our mental thoughts and activity outward. In an EKG or ECG, we monitor the heart, the electromagnetic field of the heart. And science has found that the electromagnetic energy of the heart can extend between a foot to up to 25 feet out from the body. With each heartbeat, the polarity inside our body shifts from negative to positive, which moves electrons in and out of our cells. So as a human being, we are projecting and receiving electromagnetic energy. And so the quality of our thoughts and emotions determines the frequency at which we're receiving and sending. So let's consider our thinking. When we talk about thinking, we're also considering our beliefs, the things we believe, and the stories that we tell ourselves, the story that we're living into. And we tell ourselves stories all the time, and our stories are nothing more than a collection of beliefs that we think is true or not true, we feel fairly certain are true, or maybe certainly not true. But the intensity behind that belief determines the power that is projected out into the world. And you can think of your thoughts, beliefs, stories, as a projection, projecting out. That's the order that's being sent out to the universe. That's the frequency that you're sending out. That's the focus of your energy. And then the resulting feelings, and when I say resulting feelings, our feelings are a result of the thoughts we think, what we picture in our head, how we say it to ourselves, basically the perspective that we adopt. That results in a feeling state or an emotional state. Now, that emotional state, that is the magnetizing force that pulls your manifestation to you. And by consequence, your point of attraction are the thoughts you're sending out and the emotional state that you're holding. And what you attract into your life will be in alignment with your frequency and vibration. Now, as a human being, we have fleeting thoughts all the time. But because they have no intensity behind it, those thoughts don't really create much. But anything that we focus on for any length of time and we begin to aggregate a certain emotional state behind it, that becomes more intense. That builds momentum, and that becomes a point of attraction. So we are always attracting something into our life. We are always manifesting. We are always in the process of manifesting. And so the most effective way to determine the quality of your thoughts and your emotions is to look what is showing up in your life. What are you attracting? What circumstances are showing up? What are the quality of your thoughts? What's your emotional state? Because you will be attracting the thoughts and circumstances and people that are in alignment with your predominant thoughts. In the next episode, I'm going to talk more about aligning your thoughts and your emotions with that which you want and your desire to attract those things into your life. I want to reshare a quote from Nikola Tesla. If you want to know the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Begin to look around your life and tune in to the frequency, the vibe, what's showing up. Like really take an assessment of what are you attracting day in, day out. You need to be more focused in your intentions, more intentional. Where in your life are you experiencing doubt and fear? Because those two emotions have a particular vibratory rate. You're attracting certain things into your life based on the doubt and based on the fear. And it's typically not what you want. My friend, if you haven't already signed up for the Manifesting Guide, I suggest you go to yesdaniel.com and look for the link for the Manifesting Guide. Sign up to get that in your inbox. And if you can't remember yesdaniel.com, the link will be in the show notes. But how could you not remember yesdaniel.com? Well, until next time, this is your friend and host, Daniel D'Neuville, urging you to follow your bliss, live your life from inner signals, be inner directed as you engage in the epic adventure.